Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 17 Ultimate Team pack opening up some Team of the Week most feared packs, because, you know, I just hate my wallet, and I love opening up gold players. Anyways, what I do want to say while we are opening up these packs is that I saw some people suggest this in the comment section, and it's something I've been thinking about starting up. I've mentioned on Twitter and stuff like that, but it's a not top 10 plays of the week series. I think it could be pretty funny, man. I think it's something we could at least try. So I'm gonna be opening up an email, well, reopening. This is something we did 2 years ago. I'm just gonna be putting the email in the description for you guys to submit your own not top 10 plays of the week, as we pull Braden Marshall right there. So any glitches you guys find in the game, any, you know, like you fumble the ball at the 1 yard line about to win the game and the other dude takes it back for a touchdown or something like that, any not top 10 play you guys find, send it to me and we'll consider it for the first episode. Depending on how many clips we get submitted, I could try to get it out over the weekend. If not, sometime next week, maybe Monday or Tuesday. It just depends on how many clips we get submitted, because I do need at least 10 for a top 10, you know, at least 10 good ones. So you guys got anything, send it to me and we'll try to make that program work. I really do want to make it work. I think it could be something funny, something that you guys will enjoy. Definitely something I'll enjoy, looking through the clips and seeing what's going on in the Madden world, seeing all the this game is a glitchy game. Let's be real. Madden 17 has a lot of glitches. There's a lot of things we can, I don't want to say expose, but put out there for entertainment purposes, even though it's at the expense of the person submitting the clip. So if something happens to you really bad in a Madden game and you're like, well, damn it could be good, because you can make that top 10 plays of the week. Might as well say Xbox record that on that, or hit that PS4 share button. And now for the rest of the video. So you guys got that. That email's in the description. It'll show up on the screen sometime during this video as we pull Rodney McLeod Jr. I believe he came from the Rams last year and had a pretty good game with the Eagles. And the Eagles secondary, they replaced, I forget who they replaced that strong safety. I believe it was Patrick Chung or someone. No, Patrick Chung was like 2 years ago. But whoever they replaced with Rodney McLeod, he and Malcolm Jenkins are looking like a pretty good safety duo. And that's going to be a pretty good transition cut for the rest of the video. I do want to talk about some NFL action, like the fact that the Eagles put the whooping on the Vikings. And I want to say whooping because, I mean, the Vikings made a lot of mistakes. That game, even though they only lost by like 16 points or something like that, the scoreboard didn't really indicate the game. But it definitely did say that the Eagles defense was dominant, and that's kind of the way I felt about that game. The Eagles seem to turn up against good teams for some reason. Like, they beat the Patriots last year. They whooped the Steelers, and their defense, you just give them a decent lead, and they just seem to get locked in for some reason. They're very scary defense. They're one of the most talented in the league. Got great secondary. The corners are a little bit of a problem. They've been for years, but they have maybe the best front seven in the NFL. Fletcher Cox, Kendricks, Brandon Graham's been going off this year. List goes on and on. And unfortunately for the Eagles, the rest of the NFC is pretty top heavy right now for some reason. The Cowboys were on a bye, but they're on a hot win streak. The Redskins have been red hot, 4 wins in a row, but they lost to the Detroit Lions. By the way, for the Vikings, they have a little bit of trouble protecting Sam Bradford. It's kind of been the way all season, but I mean, I still think the Vikings are good. They just lost one game on the road. That's just the way it goes. But the Lions winning at home, last minute, Matt Stafford comeback drive after they give up the lead on a Kirk Cousins read option. And Stafford once again had a good week, man, as we open up this legendary topper. And you guys see we're not really pulling jack all from these packs. And for the rest of the pack opening, we're going to be opening up some legendary packs. You guys saw Team of the Week packs. You guys will see now these legendary most feared packs. We got 12 of them in store, hoping to pull something good. They came out like a legendary Brian Dawkins over the weekend. So like I said, I hate my wallet, so I decided to go and open these packs. And yeah, so the Detroit Lions looking pretty decent. Problem for them is still, like, you know, their pass defense isn't that great. You got Darius Slay, but it's kind of question marks after that. But the team, you know, their receiving core is more well-balanced this year. You got Golden Tate, you got Anquan Bolden, Marvin Jones has been a pleasant surprise, and then Stafford's the guy who's kind of engineering it all. He's not, like, having a crazy good year, but it is a really good year for Stafford, and I'm not sure the Lions are a playoff team, but they're definitely in the contention. If they keep winning games the way they're winning with these last-minute comebacks, then yeah, that'll sneak you in a wildcard spot. And probably not a playoff berth, because they are in a really tough division, because the Packers are in it too, but maybe sneak in a wildcard spot. The Redskins, they'll probably still be competing in the NFC East. They still have a good enough offense, and defense is, you know, improved this year. Josh Norman's there. Josh Norman's injured, but their pass defense has definitely improved this year to have him and Emerson, those guys. So I wouldn't hit the panic button on the Redskins, but I've been saying all year, I'm not sure the Redskins are a playoff team. And especially with the way the NFC East is this year, someone has to not make it. And I think the Redskins are one of those teams. My Giants went to London and beat the Los Angeles Rams. We're pulling a bunch of collectibles. I think it's 2 elite legend collectibles per legendary pack now to change up the promo. And yeah, so they're gonna see a lot of elite flashes, but not a lot of elite players, basically. So my Giants had a pretty good game. It basically went the way I said it would. We stopped Todd Gurley in the running game, and Case Keenum couldn't pass on us. And unfortunately, Eli Manning couldn't pass because, you know, Eli Manning just having a pretty up and down year. And that was one of the down points of the year for Eli going against the Rams. There's just so many punts in the second half, and that game was pretty ugly. It was either a punt or a Case Keenum interception. At least for the Giants, their defense continues to look good. It's just that Eli Manning and the offense have to get out of this funk, or else, you know, it's going to cost them football games. It cost them a couple, you know, when they went on the 3-game losing streak, and it's going to cost them more games if Eli doesn't snap out of it, because this is a defense that can lead them to the playoffs, lead them to a potential wildcard berth. Maybe not a division win, because like I said, the Eagles and Cowboys look pretty good this year, but it could lead them to a wildcard berth. They snap out of it, but you know, that's their problem. Then the Rams, they're just destined to go like 6-10, 7-9, 8-8. That's just the way they are, right? Though they should think about getting Jared Goff in the action soon. I would think they should. Anyways, we move on to Kansas City and New Orleans, where Kansas City won. It was a pretty close game. New Orleans definitely had their shots to win. They had a key turnover late in the game. Kansas City had the pick 6, and those kind of things changed the game, or else we could be talking about New Orleans winning the game. And it's unfortunate for them because the Saints were on a little bit of a roll, and that would have been a huge win on the road in Kansas City. But it's just the kind of game that the Saints have lost the past couple of years, and the Chiefs have won. They just went straight to the normal narrative. Alex Smith looked pretty decent yesterday. Defensive players were playing pretty well, and like I said, that's just the way it goes for them. And now the Chiefs are in a tight battle against, like, some conferences are pretty bad, like the AFC South. Some conferences this year really good, like the AFC West. And the AFC West also has the Oakland Raiders and the Denver Broncos. The Raiders beat the Jaguars pretty handedly. It wasn't really much of a contest throughout. The Raiders started off pretty slow, kicking field goals and stuff like that, but the Jaguars were just never able to keep up. The offense, you know, looked bad. Blake Bortles has been inconsistent this year. He has a bunch of bad turnovers. Like, Blake Bortles in the red zone is just a disaster. The one thing you don't want to do when you enter the red zone is turn over the ball. You got to get points, and Blake Bortles has not gotten that yet, and that's really costing the Jaguars. And meanwhile, the Raiders, Derek Carr, he's looking great. He had a not so great game against the Chiefs, apparently. I didn't really get to watch it, but otherwise, he's been really good this year. And that's the thing about the Raiders. They had a good team on paper. Their defense was still a little bit of a mess, but in order to take the next step, Derek Carr had to take the next step this year, and so far, so good for the Raiders. They are in playoff contention, rightly so. We move on to the Indianapolis versus Tennessee game, where Tennessee looked like they had the game won, but Andrew Luck led another one of his fourth-quarter drives. Shout out to Andrew Luck and the Tennessee Titans. They look better this year. I mean, I don't think anyone expected, like, hey, Tennessee Titans are going to make the playoffs, but so far this year, it's been positive for the Titans. If they don't make the playoffs, there's still been a lot of positive things. It's going to take a couple of years for that team to turn around. They got Mariota. Now they're adding pieces around him, and it's looking good for them, man. That's a game that they could win a year or two down the road, but right now it's all about Andrew Luck and the Colts, who suddenly look like the favorites to win their division because the Osweiler-led Texans are just a train wreck on offense. I have DeAndre Hopkins in fantasy football, man. Say a prayer for me. That's not going too well. Broncos continue to win games with defense, even though it felt like this league was shifting to an offensive league. The Broncos continue to win games with defense, and that's just what they do. Tampa Bay beat San Francisco. Not going to spend too much time about that. Pittsburgh lost to the Patriots. Not going to spend much time on that. Cincinnati beat the Jaguars. Not going to spend much time on that. Baltimore lost to the Jets, which was an interesting game because Baltimore was actually up 10-0, I believe. And this is like the second 10-0 lead they've blown in a row. And they blew it to Ryan Fitzpatrick because Geno tore his ACL mid-game. So, the big thing about the Jets is their defense actually looked really good, and that was the thing about the Jets. Last year, their defense was really well, and they had the players on paper to do well again this year, and they started off really bad, but against a little bit of a banged-up Ravens front, they were able to turn it around. I believe they switched to a 3-4 defense. They switched their defense around, either from a 4-3 to a 3-4 the other way around. They moved Sheldon Rich. I believe Wilkerson was out, so they changed up their defense, and it worked out really well for them, basically. I don't know if it's just a fluke against the Ravens or what, but the Jets definitely needed that win right there. They got it. That was a season-saving win. I don't think they made the playoffs, but that was just something that you got to make sure you don't lose like 13 games in the year, and that's what they did right there. And the Ravens are in trouble, man. They really are. Their secondary is completely banged up. Besides Eric Weddle, it's just messy out there. Joe Flacco is not looking good at all this year. I didn't want to overreact when I went to the Giants game and say Joe Flacco played bad just because he played against the Giants, but he really doesn't look good this year, man. He really doesn't. And finally, Seahawks versus Cardinals. What the hell did we watch on Sunday? We saw a great defensive battle. The Cardinals defense, outstanding. Great game plan against a banged up Seattle team where Russell Wilson's not 100%. And then the Seahawks defense, I mean, Carson Palmer, but once again, not having a good year, but the Seahawks defense looks great. I said they weren't as good as their Super Bowl team, but they're pretty close, man. And at the end of the day, that game was just a freaking mess. The Cardinals should have won it. Easily should have won it in regulation. And then overtime, which is fuckery of missed field goals and all that. Pretty funny game. Something I've never seen before. Something we may never see again. And might as well cherish that memory as those two teams go on for a tie, which could make things interesting come playoff time. That tie that both teams got, because the Seahawks definitely lucked out in getting the tie. The Cardinals should have won. We'll see what happens, though. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Madden 17. Once again, submit your top 10 plays in that email, man. Or not top 10 plays, I should say. It can make a very funny video. If you got a clip, definitely send them my way, and I'll look over it. And until then, I'll catch you guys next time.